Shanghai Pete from Degreelessness here again to bring some much needed toxicity into your day. And today, we're talking about E3. I have one request for everybody. Can you stop? Can you all just stop, please? Stop pretending that E3 is fun and exciting. It's not. It hasn't been for fucking years. Just stop lying to yourselves. E3 is the epitome of everything that is wrong with the video game industry, and we all know it. It's the pure, raw distillation of everything that we hate the very most, and the idea that people actually get excited for this still is nauseating. It's everywhere you look, on the face of every booth babe that's not there because they've been banned in the name of political correctness. It's on the tits of every Twitch thought, IRL streaming to what must be the most pathetic generation of men to have ever lived under the foul light of our sun. It's coming out of the mouths of legions of homunculi screaming support for a Bethesda mobile game starring a character from the early 90s that I guarantee they've never heard of, and of course, it's in the pre-order bonus of every game that they haven't even shown gameplay footage from. As far as the eye can see, the obvious and cruel truth is on vulgar display for all in attendance. Now, to be completely honest, I wasn't really going to make a video about this, as some of you may or may not have noticed. As much as I do love an excuse for a good old-fashioned snarky industry rant, I usually try to only do videos about topics that I feel enough people aren't properly focusing on. There's already plenty of more rational, nuanced, and better research takes on the majority of video game shit out there, and no one really needs me heaping my retarded opinion on the pile. However, on this occasion I'll make an exception. E3 is a fucking ballsack. Now strap in, cause we're about to shit all over it. Whee! Everyone laugh as Bethesda drags its useless, abused, and ridiculed corpse across the stage in a foul parody of the brilliant game development studio they once were. The applause was so scripted here, it reminded me, like of an early episode of Friends where the laugh track is mixed way higher than the dialogue and it makes everything seem much more fake than it already is. If I hadn't been sculling the fuck out on Adderall all the time, I probably would have cut my own entrails out to avoid the cringe. It was so painful. Let's be honest, we already know this is all shit, so we'll start with a few good things. And you know there's gonna be some good Bethesda shit. That's not a joke, actually. Not because Bethesda itself is still capable of creating good games. Of course not, oh lord bitch, no. Bethesda, we started fucking other hoes back when you fucked up Fallout 4, but we didn't actually change our relationship status until Fallout 76 came out, and you made it clear that you had no remorse or regret about releasing a fundamentally broken product whose sole purpose was exploiting your loyal fanbase. And that's to say nothing of the hilarity that ensued watching the ultra-violent downward spiral of PR catastrophes surrounding that nightmare. No, the singular reason we're interested in anything Bethesda has to say anymore is, well, because they forced us to. Yes, unfortunately, they happen to be the publishers behind Doom and Wolfenstein, so we're here because we want to know the release dates. That's it. We don't care who the next victims of your revolting Elder Scrolls mobile game are. No one gives a fuck what trend you're jumping on with Fallout 76 in a desperate attempt to obfuscate the clearly sinister exploitative nature of it. And we certainly can't be fucked about any of the other garbage that's still so far off you're unable to produce even a second of actual gameplay footage from it. Here's the relevant info from Bethesda this year. Doom Eternal, November 22nd. Wolfenstein Youngblood, July 26th. That's it. Oh, and Ikumi Nakamura was there too, in theory to announce Ghostwire Tokyo, a new title from Tango Gameworks, but in practice to apparently be cute and turned into a meme. In case you're wondering why I'd bother mentioning Tango Gameworks, it's because they're the studio that made the Evil Within series, which I like, and they were founded by Shinji Mikami, the guy who's responsible for Resident Evil, and everyone knows Resident Evil is sick. Well, 1, 2, 4, 7, and Code Veronica are anyway. Moving on. Motherfucker, Square Enix, dude. There are two big takeaways from the Square Enix conference this year. I already made a video complaining about Final Fantasy VII, so I won't subject you to that again. Suffice to say, Square Enix thought that instead of remaking all of Final Fantasy VII, they'd stop after just the first few hours and then extort everyone that was interested in the rest of it over the course of the next several years, and I think that fucking sucks. The second one being the Avengers game reveal, and holy Christ on the motherfucking cross was this bad. My roommate was looking forward to this one so much, and it looked so downright horrible that I didn't have the heart to even mention it to him for days until he brought it up with me later. Yes, I know they couldn't make the Avengers look like their film counterparts, I get that, but couldn't they have at least made them look like actual humans, in a video game from this decade? Oh my god, I was actually embarrassed for the people presenting this. The sense of profound disappointment in the room was so palpable, I felt like it transcended the boundaries of my computer screen and was physically in the room with me. Jesus, someone must have been fired for this. It is incomprehensible to me that absolutely no one was able to stop this from happening. Oh, and if that wasn't enough to make you want to take a bath with a toaster, it's also a live service. Fucking kill me. If you want a good Avengers game, Ultimate Alliance looks awesome. In other minor news, they're finally remastering Final Fantasy VIII and bringing it to modern platforms. That's awesome news for me personally because that's my favorite Final Fantasy, and now I'll be able to play it on my Switch without jailbreaking it and using RetroArch. Speaking of Final Fantasy remasters, the exact opposite of my favorite Final Fantasy, the worst one, Final Fantasy Who Wants to Hold the Bucket, is also getting a remaster. Who fucking Ray? There's a bunch of other remastered garbo too, and the usual smattering of predictable non-announcements with no gameplay shown, but who gives a fuck about that. Romancing Saga 3, the SNES game, is getting released outside Japan, which is great. And I was about to mention the new shooter from People Can Fly, who have been known to make some sick FPSs, most notably the Painkiller series, until I saw it was labeled as a 1 to 3 person cooperative shooter, which, as we all know, is industry speak for, you'll have to play this game online with other fucking idiots. So, fuck that all to hell. Nothing else to see here. Let's move on. So let's get this out of the way right off the bat. Keanu Reeves is in Cyberpunk 2077. We've all seen it. And yeah, that game really does look fucking awesome. And yes, he's breathtaking. Memes are funny. And we also got a release date. It's April 16th, 2020. Or, in other words, a fucking eternity from right now. This is arguably the biggest game of E3, so of course the predictable failing access media and their army of shield journalists are already setting out to fucking smear it, having smelt blood in the water and sensed a successful IP they can use to bankroll their failing careers by leeching outrage off of. Nothing to see here. And can we just be honest for a second? No one is offended, not for real. No one is concerned, and no one finds anything problematic. I don't care if it's someone with a fooded dick on a billboard or fucking whatever. It's not about their agenda or the SJW bullshit. People just want fucking attention on the internet so they can collect their victim currency. Blah, blah, fucking blah. To be clear, I am super psyched about this game, and I think everything we've seen of it is great. But I'm not gonna collapse in hysterics simply because they mention the fucking game or show a few minutes of new footage or trot out poor Keanu Reeves on a fucking leash and put him on display for the screaming masses. Wake me up in 9 months when something actually happens. I'm just sick of shit telling me to hurry up and wait. And now, yes, I realize I'm an old, jaded, and cynical asshole whose dick barely budges for fucking anything these days, but Jesus, would it kill you people to say anything other than LOL, wait longer? Naturally, this is what Microsoft did with their silly new console too, codenamed Project Scarlet, and announced with an insipid video that was bereft of any useful info, yet inexplicably stuffed to the puss with industry buzzwords that I guess they're hoping people who don't know anything about hardware will be impressed by. We heard lots of virtual RAM, reduced load times, GDDR6. I think I even heard someone say 8K. Good God, can you just shut the fuck up already? You haven't told or shown us anything of actual substance whatsoever. Get back to me when you have footage of the console actually running a motherfucking game, and then maybe I'll care. But probably not. In other news, and I'm surprised no one's really talking about this, Double Fine, the studio founded by the legendary Tim Schafer, who, if you're not familiar with, he made the Monkey Island games, among others, fucking genius. They've decided to bend the knee and allow themselves to be raped, murdered, and discarded in a shallow grave by Microsoft. Hopefully, they manage to get Psychonauts 2 out before that big ol' Microsoft dick has its way with them. Gears of War 5, that's still a thing. That's fun. I don't really give a shit about this series, but I do have fun with these games when I'm tweaked, so I'll take it. And stop right there, Phantasy Star fan. I know you want to be excited about Phantasy Star Online too, but not before I piss in your face a little bit. It's going to be free to play, and they've already copped to putting microtransactions in it, so not fun, instead garbage. What do you think the chances are that this franchise is being revived by a group of passionate developers who care deeply about making a good game, compared to the odds of it being a quick and dirty attempt at a cash grab using a franchise they think will make good nostalgia bait? Yeah, abandon all hope for this one, sorry to say. Speaking of nostalgia bait, Battletoads? Really? Have we traveled back in time to 2006 and got stuck on 4chan's random board? Good fucking God, just get the fuck out of here. And also, why does this look like the asshole of a Nickelodeon cartoon? What the fuck? No release date, no details, no fucking thanks. They also announced another Tales game, Tales of Arise, I think, but those have been shit since Tales of Eternia, and I don't care what you say about Vesperia. Fight me. That being said, no one would be happier than me if that series actually came back and became something fucking good again, because I did love the first couple games. Fantasia, Destiny, Eternia, fantastic fucking games. So if Tales of Arise turns out to be awesome, fucking sweet. There was also a few other games announced, few of which I give a fuck about, and even fewer that had any gameplay to show, so fuck it. And I know what you all must be thinking by now. What about Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order? Yeah? What about it? In case some of you don't know, The Last Jedi finally accomplished what the heretical prequel trilogy and numerous special edition remasters could not. It killed Star Wars. Killed it dead. Fucked it right into the ground. And I apologize for being the bearer of bad news to those of you who are unaware of this, but better you heard it from me now instead of continuing your existence, roaming aimlessly through this life in blissful ignorance. Allow me to take that fragile piece away from you. Star Wars is dead, kids. Rian Johnson killed it. And it's not coming back. Not in Episode 9, not in an uninspired, blatant cash-in video game, and definitely not in Solo 2. Never. It's gone. Better to start coming to terms with it instead of dragging its corpse around behind you like an old stuffed animal, denying reality and getting all weekend at Bernie's with it as you continue its blasphemous desecration with stuff like a CGI Carrie Fisher. No one wants to see that. Just let it go. It's easier this way, trust me. Oh, and they also didn't show Halo Infinite, so that's perfect. Oh, Nintendo. Now, recently, you're probably hearing a lot of talk about how Nintendo won E3. This is fucking retarded. No one won E3 because you can't win what is essentially a 3-day commercial. You know who won E3? Anyone trying to sell you something. All the companies at whom you scream, "Take my fucking money, Dad!" It's all the same. The only difference is how much dick you're gonna take and from who. To at least give off the appearance of fairness, I will say that, yes, Nintendo showed the most actual gameplay. Great, so this is where the bar is at now? Whichever game company actually shows games is the best? Oh, fantastic. This shit is somehow even worse off than I thought. However, all that being said, they did talk about a few things I am interested in. Second Densetsu 3 is finally getting a US release under the name Trials of Mana, which, by the way, is fucking stupid. Why couldn't you have just called it Secret of Mana 2? Anyway, it's going to be in the collection of Mana, which includes Final Fantasy Adventure, the first game in the series, technically Shinyaku Second Densetsu, as well as Secret of Mana, which is my favorite game of all time. So, that's dope. Looks like they're also doing a full remake of Second 3 too, and mercifully it does look better than the Secret of Mana remake, but doesn't look that much better. I'll play it, of course, but I'll always prefer the old school 16-bit pixels. Empire of Sin actually looks kind of cool too. I like John Romero. I played Sigil, the new episode for the original Doom that he just put out, and that was fucking great. I could probably get behind a 50s gangster Diablo style game, I guess, sure. Link's Awakening, of course, looks fucking gorgeous. They also announced a Breath of the Wild sequel, which probably surprised a lot of people. I mean, shit, how long does it usually take them to make a main installment in the Zelda series? Like 5+ years? How the fuck are they already ready to announce another one? Because they're reusing the Hyrule and all the areas that we've already spent hundreds of hours exploring from the first game. Great. So, well, there goes my excitement for that. They also announced Witcher 3 for Switch, which is dope, but you'll probably need to run it in like 240p. Panzer Dragoon is going to be shit. Don't get excited. It's just more nostalgia bait. Resident Evil 5 and 6 are coming to Switch. More examples of low-effort ports of games which are garbage to begin with. Remind me again what Resident Evil 6's Metacritic score is? Oh yeah, fucking 67. Excuse me while I throw a party for its release as a cash grab on Switch, hooray. Oh, and also, Alien Isolation is getting a Switch port too. In fairness, that's a pretty sick game, but like, the fuck is it with all these ports of 360 games? We're moving on to next-gen systems in less than a year, and Nintendo is still struggling to bring over ports of games from 6+ years ago? Good God, I mean, I love Nintendo, I love the Switch, but y'all are gonna need some bigger guns if you want even a prayer of competing in the industry going forward. And don't even get me started on their online service. Ugh. Also, there was no mention of Metroid Prime 4 and a bunch of the dumb shit for Pokemon, Smash Brothers, Luigi's Mansion. I mean, if you're into that stuff, awesome, but I don't care. Ubisoft announced no interest in games and instead spent their conference embarrassing several actors and celebrities for a reason I will never understand. So that's all I have to say about that. To quote the irrepressible Jim Sterling, oh Ubisoft. Now, before we wrap things up here, I think we should all just take a moment to appreciate Devolver Digital. They're one of the few developers that show an actual sense of self-awareness regarding the disgusting parody of artistic integrity that the industry has devolved into. And amazingly enough, these guys put out awesome games too, so a big fuck yeah to Devolver Digital. Also, it should go without saying that we are of course in support of all the other indie games announced across various platforms this year. Providing, of course, that they don't allow themselves to be bribed into Epic Store exclusivity. Indie games are truly the last bastion of creative sincerity in this morally bankrupt stink box of an industry, so we should all support that shit. So overall this year at E3, we have a bunch of cock teasing, cringy meme fodder, pseudo non-announcements, CGI trailers for games that may or may not actually exist, fanboy pandering, and of course, outrage for the sake of outrage. Sounds like everything went according to plan. God, E3 is a ballsack, dude. And, well, that about wraps up story time for today, boys and girls. Don't like, don't comment, and don't bother subscribing because I just got home and I'm about to eat some Zans and go play Katana Zero until something happens to me.